All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that might completely change how you see your dog's mat. It's not just about a place command, it's about a powerful tool for teaching your dog the art of true biological calm.
So let me ask you something. When you send your dog to their mat, what's really the goal? Is it just, a spot to park them so they're out from underfoot for a little while?
Because if that's the answer, then we really need to rethink the whole thing. I love this quote. It's not go here and wait to explode. And that's exactly it, right? It's not supposed to be this place where your dog is just vibrating with pent-up energy, waiting for you to say the magic word so they can burst out.
All right, so let's get right into our first big idea here. The mat is not just a fancy stay command. And it's for sure not what some trainers hilariously call obedience cosplay. Where the dog looks perfect on the outside, but isn't actually feeling any of it on the inside.
And here's the absolute heart of the matter. The real goal isn't about physical position. It's about the dog's state of mind. We're not just training where their body is. We are trying to change how the dog feels. We're training their brain, their emotions.
And that brings us to the real magic behind all of this. What we're actually teaching is the art of biological calm. It's about giving our dogs the skill to settle themselves down, to find their own off switch. And let's be honest, so many dogs really, really need that skill.
Okay, check out this comparison because it makes it so clear. On the one side, you see what mat training is. It's about teaching them to settle, reinforcing that relaxed body language, helping their nervous system literally downshift. But look at what it's not. It's not a launch pad, not a holding pen, not just a place where the dog is coiled and ready to spring. See the difference? We're training an emotional state, not just forcing a physical position. So, when you get this right, the mat becomes something called a context cue for regulation. Now, that sounds super technical, but all it really means is that the mat itself sends a signal to your dog's brain. It says, hey, you can chill out now. Nothing exciting is required of you, and nothing bad is going to happen either. You can just relax.
Okay, so if the goal isn't just dog lies down, then what are we looking for? What does this biological calm actually look like? What are the specific signs we can see with our own eyes?
First up, just look at their whole body posture. You're looking for, well, floppy is a good word, like they're melting into the floor. A huge tell is when their hip rolls over to one side. That's a classic sign they aren't planning on jumping up anytime soon. The second you see that hip roll, that's your cue to calmly place a treat between their paws. You're rewarding that specific act of relaxation. Next, zoom in on their head and eyes. A head resting all the way down on the mat, that's gold. But the eyes tell you everything. You want to see soft eyes, not that hard, intense stare right at you, waiting for the next command. The moment their gaze drifts, gets a little unfocused, or you see that super slow blink, bam, that's what you reward. You're capturing the moment they disengage. And finally, pay attention to their breathing. You should see it slow down. And if you hear an audible sigh, oh man, that is the jackpot. That's their nervous system literally letting go of tension. You should drop a really good treat right then to say, yes, that feeling, that's what I want. The whole point is that their stillness should look easy and comfortable, not like they're a statue holding its breath.
And really, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? If it looks boring on camera, congratulations, you're winning. Success here isn't some flashy trick you post online. It is beautifully, wonderfully boring. If your dog is so chilled out that they're not even interesting to film, you're doing it exactly right.
Okay, so now we know what good looks like, but let's talk about the common traps we all fall into. These are the ways that, even with the best intentions, we accidentally end up reinforcing excitement instead of calm. Mistake number one, and this one is huge, training the location, not the calm. It's so easy to just think, are all four paws on the mat? Yep, good dog. But a dog can be perfectly placed on that mat and still be a bundle of nerves, tense, watching everything, totally stressed out. The location is not the win. All right, mistake number two is a little sneakier, but it's so important. We accidentally reinforce tension. Think about it. Our dog is trying so hard, they're staring at us, they're really focused, so we give them a treat, right? But what did we just reward? Just look at this. We tend to reward the effort, right? The intense stare, the tight muscles, their weight shifted forward like they're about to launch. We need to flip that completely. You have to reward the softness. Wait for that split second their eyes look away, the instant you see a muscle loosen up. That's the moment to reward.
Mistake number 3, asking for way too much, way too soon. It's like trying to run a marathon when you haven't even walked around the block. You can't expect your dog to be calm for 20 minutes in a loud cafe if you haven't even mastered 3 seconds of calm in your quiet living room. You have to build it up. For seconds, then you can stretch it to minutes, and only after that can you start trying it in new places.
Number 4 is a real goal killer, using the mat as a punishment. If the only time you tell your dog go to your mat is when they're jumping on people or begging for food, what does that mat start to mean to them? It's not a safe space anymore. It's the doggy penalty box.
The mat has to predict good things, or even better, just neutral things. It needs to be a signal for safety, for low pressure. It can't ever become a signal for, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Okay, number 5 is another one of those sneaky mistakes, turning the mat into a launch pad. So if every single session on the mat ends with you saying, okay, and immediately starting a wild game of fetch, what are you teaching? You're teaching the dog to lie there like a coiled spring, just waiting for the explosion of fun.
Your dog has to learn that relaxing on the mat is the point. It's the destination, not just the waiting room for the main event. So sometimes you have to release them from the mat, and then absolutely nothing happens. They get up, maybe stretch, and life just carries on. That's how they learn that the relaxation itself is the reward.
All right, this brings us to our last big idea, and honestly, it might be the most profound one. We've talked about what calm looks like on the outside, but we really need to get to the core of what we're training on the inside. And I really want you to remember this quote. A dog can be still and flooded. Flooded just means they're overwhelmed with stress hormones. So a dog can be frozen, perfectly still, looking obedient, but inside their system is screaming with anxiety. Stillness does not equal calm. They are not the same thing. And that really is the ultimate point of all of this. We're not training statues. We are training nervous systems. We're giving our dogs the actual tools to manage their own arousal, to regulate themselves. We're teaching them, at a deep, biological level, that being still is safe, that it's something they can choose to do, not something that's forced on them. So, next time you pull out that mat, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Are you just training your dog's position, or are you training their state of mind? Are you just controlling where their body is, or are you giving them the incredible, life-changing gift of knowing how to find their own calm? Because that difference, well, it's everything.